what I'd love to start with first is to really encourage people, however you're using audio as a platform, to bring it into the thought of that you're talking to one person at a time. So you may have an audience of 100, 500, 500,000. But to your point, and I love what you pointed out about audio, it's like most people are listening and consuming audio content with earbuds on. And so it's a very intimate experience coming out of the gate. Secondarily to that, they're often commuting, multitasking in their cars, in their homes, in the gym. So it's the one platform that you can carry an essential stranger and invite them into your home, into your house, into your car. So when you are sharing your content and creating your content and building out your content, make sure that you're talking to them in a way that's one-on-one. So if you notice, even with my story about, have you been feeling the slump lately? I know I have. Like, that's me talking to you, one person. And so I think just in general, from a tip tactical scope, just always remember, whenever you're creating your content and having a conversation, have it be a conversation. Even if you can't physically see that person on the other side, picture that you're talking to them and use words like, I want you, or it would be amazing if you, because then they're thinking, oh, she really cares about me, or she's really thinking about me. So that's a more of a generic response. In terms of very specific responses, I think the possibilities are really endless, because it really doesn't matter what your business vertical is, or it doesn't matter what content you're creating, as long as you're personalizing that in a way that creates the opportunity to continue a conversation with you once you've shared that story.
Yeah, and once you get in between their ears and you really use that word, it's the pronoun shift, I like to call it, the you. Instead of talking about we and us and in generalities, you're talking specifically to that listener. But once inside, what do you do with your scripting and maybe even your freelance, recordings, when you're just winging it out there to really try to fire up that theater of the mind?
I think that, first of all, if you are always focused on what's in it for them versus what's in it for you, you always want to be adding value. And even if it's something so simple as, maybe ultimately the movement you would like to see from the audience would be to sign up for your newsletter or connect with you on LinkedIn. That's a lot of you, that's a lot of me, right? So you have to think about framing out, whether it's your story or your content or your call to action. You want to frame that out so that it's encouraging for what is in it for the listener. So when I love what you're saying about the pronoun shift, instead of saying, I want you to sign up for my newsletter, then it's all about the emphasis, right? So if building your newsletter is your strategy for your call to action, then what you want to say is something to the effect of, if you're looking for a resource that's going to help you grow your business, or if you're looking for a resource that's going to provide you with recipes and the easiest way to complete a meal plan that will take you through a whole busy week, then you are going to love getting my newsletter, because I'm going to do all the heavy lifting for you. All you're going to have to do is just go to the grocery store. So all of a sudden, that's not about my newsletter. That's about what a newsletter for a health and nutrition expert, or, a specific podcaster I'm thinking of is Salad with the Side of Fries, is a client that we work with. She just does an amazing job of having people feel included and providing things like nutrition nuggets. It's like catchy and it's fun and it's content that people want to consume in literal small bites. But if you notice that I was really crafting it to, what's the benefit? Like, if someone's going to give you their email, really something needs to be exchange of value for that, but inspire and excite them, right? Because also, if they're multitasking, it needs to be easy for them to do it too. That's another thing.
Well, and your stories are always about the outcome for your audience, never really about your offering. Your offering is simply the vehicle. That's just, hers is a newsletter as being the vehicle to the outcome that your audience wants. And so communicate to your audience from their perspective, sharing the outcomes that they can get, the impact that they can have by simply using your particular resource. So that's another shift from the pronoun shift of me and we and us to you, and shifting from your story is not about what you make, but what you make happen in your audience's life.
Yes, absolutely. And I think too that it's just really important to keep that focus on what that value is, but also never underestimate the power of empathy and enthusiasm, because both of those things go a long way in connecting you and keeping and sustaining that relatability. And it, because if you think about, if you were in a cocktail party situation and you were meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't just walk up to them and go, sign up for my newsletter. Like that would just, I mean, if you did, that would be a little awkward, right? But if you were having a conversation with someone at a cocktail party and they said, I'm so busy, I have 3 kids, I'm trying to eat healthy, who has time for a meal plan? I can barely, go online and order my groceries. Like, then you could go, oh, okay, well, I totally understand that you're struggling with that. That's something I see a lot. Have you, heard about this podcast that I have? And if not, I could send you a link. It's like, those are kind of things that happen naturally, organically in a conversation, or if even more, sharing for a friend. Or I could be like, oh, I have this newsletter I get every day and it helps me with my meal planning. So that's a relatable exchange. Then that person doesn't feel like you're just, throwing a iPad in front of their face and going, sign here,